Thanks for checking out Hard Thought Gaming. With this one, we are going to be looking at our most recent vote over on Focus's website, and there is a winner now, and it is our contested health recovery is going to be increased for melee and reduced for ranged weapons. So they're going to buff melee contested health, they're going to nerf range contested health, and this will not take effect until most likely patch 11. Definitely not with patch 10, guys, but in patch 11, they are going to do these changes. And if you watch any of my previous videos, I hated this vote. I hated the structure of it most of all. I wish there was some kind of option to where you could just pick, hey, increase melee contested health, and then kind of go from there, because we don't know what it would feel like. On top of that, you can't use both of these actions at the same time. You can't gain contested health with ranged and melee at the same exact time. So most of their reasonings behind wanting to nerf range just really doesn't make any sense. But quickly, we will move into some of their reasonings to why one has to be nerfed and the other has to be buffed. So let's start right here. The difficulty with contested health recovery is that it's a complex system influenced by many factors. Damage dealt, the current melee attacks, chosen difficulty, AoE, number of targets hit, and more. Even a small tweak risks breaking something unintentionally and may require hotfixes. Hopefully, PTS will be able to alleviate this, but I must warn anyone that it might introduce some new issues. Okay, so just that paragraph alone tells you that you guys should only be reworking melee contested health until you get that at a good spot. Not diving in and trying to do both of these things at the same time, which you could honestly break the game, because range contested health may not be good enough anymore, and you know, everybody may struggle. So the whole point of trying to do both of these in the same patch makes no sense. And then another thing that they're saying here is we also can't simply buff melee contested health recovery, as that would make the game too easy, and absolute difficulty is already not particularly punishing. Okay, so two things here. One, I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse here, because it's like the same thing. You can't use these at the same time, guys. So buffing melee contested health has no effect on range contested health gain. It just doesn't. And then next, absolute difficulty is already not particularly punishing. Now, if you would have said this before patch 9, okay, I'd agree with you. Since patch 9, absolute difficulty has seen like a 30% buff in like its difficulty meter, dude. It is much harder than it was. You can literally get hit maybe 3 times before you're dead. Terminus enemies were buffed by like 60% their health. On top of that, you are having multiple extremist enemies spawning every time you have a terminus enemy. So absolute difficulty right now is in a good spot. It is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and I haven't heard anybody saying otherwise. Another thing, I have never heard anybody complaining about range contested health being too good. So for them to want to nerf it makes no sense, and for them to do both of these things at the same time, guys, it really does make me nervous. Hopefully they can do it through the PTS. Like I said, I'm going to adjust either way. If it's melee, I'll go melee, and if it's ranged, I'll go ranged, you know? But I do think this was a horrible vote. I do not agree with the structure of it. I do want melee contested health increased. I just don't want them to touch ranged contested health at all. Honestly, I think it's in a good spot in the game. And as I said, I've really never heard anybody complaining about it prior to this, really, at all. So what I feel like this vote did was it basically pit melee classes against range classes, and whatever people main the most and voted, that's who's going to win. So if a lot more people main melee classes and they were the ones voting, obviously you're going to vote for the increased melee contested health, because it should make you better overall and give you a buff in the game, while all the other range classes are going to take somewhat of a nerf in the game. So I don't like it, but it did win. So we will kind of see where it goes from here. But as I said, it's not going to happen in patch 10. It is going to happen in patch 11. And then the PTR, hopefully they are able to work things out before we actually get to test this, you know, in real time and things like that. So I do appreciate you guys checking out this video. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will catch you on the next one.